this is an unreleased part of the story that my friends know this again, but I don't think I have told this part publicly because it is so gross. But
there was a time my house was neat and so was I was thinner back then. I would go out with my friends, but somehow that's gone bye-bye. Now I look around, there are piles strewn about. Is this dirty or clean? I'm finding out what it means. This is not just a house, it's a depression nest. I don't know how I got here. Depression nest, I don't know where to start. Depression nest caving in on me. My life is simply falling apart. Depression nest.
last Thursday, I put a poll in the community tab asking y'all what y'all wanted today's video story time to be about. If you did not get notice about the community tab and the poll that I put up, it's probably because you don't have that notification bell hit. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, hit the notification bell. Please do it now. It's like somewhere in this area. Do that, okay? It was overwhelmingly decided by the Depressedy Besties, you guys, that y'all wanted to hear stories about my worst first dates. Now, if you have followed me for a long time, you have probably heard a couple of these stories already. I used to tell these stories on Snapchat back in the day, if you follow me on Snapchat, and I would do like little stick figure drawings to like animate, illustrate it out or whatever. And I, of course, back in the day on YouTube, I used to do adventures in online dating. So some of the stories probably were told there. And also, the first story that I'm going to tell, I actually snuck into the storyline of my web series On Everything. So if you watched On Everything, you know at least one of the stories, okay? But also, I wanted to tell y'all that these aren't just going to be first date stories. They're just going to be worst date stories. So I did change that up a little bit. I wanted to do all first dates, but then I started thinking of like some other ones that y'all needed to hear. And I was like, oh, no, yeah, I'm going to put that in there. Yeah. Okay, so as you can see, while I'm telling this story, I will be showing y'all the time-lapse painting section of my life. That was like basically painting purgatory because I had to paint every piece of crown molding and every piece of trim, the bigger trim and the smaller trim, 4 times. Each piece of everything had to be painted 4 times because the color is so dark and that white kept trying to show through. And some of it still needs touch-ups. Like, we're not going to talk about it, but that's what we're going to be watching. I didn't know how else to show y'all the breadth of the pain and agony that I went through, okay? Trying to paint every single piece of trim 4 times and stay sane. So we're here. I'm going to show you every piece of it, and you're going to hear these stories, all right? So this is going to be a compilation of stories. It's not going to be like, just one long story. It's compilation. So let's get started. These are my worst dates ever. And they're really good. They're really good. Okay, so this very first one is the one that I snuck into the storyline of On Everything. It's a story that me and my friends like to call Glistening in the Moonlight. Okay. So I was recently out of a 7-year-long relationship. And this was like 2006, the relationship ended. And so I think this was like 2007 when I was like getting back out there in the streets. And I was just really excited because so much had changed since I was single, the last time I was single. And so now people were doing online dating, but they weren't doing dating apps. Like we didn't have dating apps yet, but we had like blackpeoplemeet.com, you know what I'm saying? And like blackplanet.com and Yahoo personals. Like people was using, chat rooms and forums and stuff like that, right? So I was on Black People Meet and I was on Black Planet. I met this guy on one of those, I'm pretty sure. But at the time, I was living in Stockbridge, Georgia. He also lived in Stockbridge, and we lived like super close to each other. Like, I forgot the name of that main strip of street in Stockbridge. I think it's like Highway 138 or 38, something like that. But if you coming down the highway, whatever, I'm gonna call it 138 because I think that's it. Highway 138, and you turn left, that was my apartment community. And if you turn right on that same street, that was his apartment community, right? So we basically lived across the street from each other. Right between our two apartment communities was a Mexican restaurant. Like, it was at the corner of this street. If I'm remembering this correctly, because y'all know I be losing pieces of the story. And so we chatted online for a couple times or whatever. I gave him my phone number. He called me. We talked. He was an attorney. And I was like, I am finna upgrade. Like, screw dude. Like, look at me. I'm finna date an attorney. Like, I went from like trash to treasure. I was like, yes. You know what I'm saying? I was like, ooh, I'm gonna do this. Like, look at me upgrading my life already. Because we live so closely together, we decided to meet up at that Mexican restaurant. Because I told him what apartment community that I lived in, but I didn't tell him which apartment or which building or anything like that. And I didn't know his either, right? So we met at this Mexican restaurant, and he was a little shorter than I would have liked. But, I'm 5'3.5", so I really am not picky. As long as you I like guys when they're like 5'9" and up, but I think he was probably like 5'7" something like that. But he was really cute. He was Atlanta cute though. And when I say, let me take it back. He was early 2000s Atlanta cute. So he was light skinned, and he had his hair was super black. I don't know if y'all remember this time where like light-skinned dudes had started dyeing their hair like super black, and it was shiny. Like they would put something in there. It was giving Al B. Sure. You know what I'm saying? Like he was giving that. He had like a very thin mustache, and he was cute though. I think he had like a little thingy right here, like a little goatee chin hair. And he was cute. He was an attorney. He dressed well. We met at the restaurant. I was cute. I think at that point I still had a relaxer. So, my hair was like probably in some kind of doobie wrap or something like that. And so we were in this restaurant until they closed. Like, we looked around and all the other chairs were on the tables, and the wait staff was like, yeah, we waiting on you. Wrap it up. And we was like, oh my God, like the whole restaurant is closed. Like, oh my God, let's get out of here. So he paid, and we were still like talking or whatever. And so because we both drove individual cars, he was like, well, you want to go to Applebee's? Applebee's was across the street. Okay, if you live in Stockbridge, you know the area I'm talking about. I don't know if it looks the same today, but it was a Mexican restaurant. It was a Chick-fil-A. It was an Applebee's. Okay, that's the corner that I'm at right there. I don't know. He was like, you want to go across the street to the Applebee's and just get another drink or whatever. Keep in mind, I'm not a big drinker. So I had a drink at the Mexican restaurant, and then I had another drink at Applebee's, but I'm just not a big drinker. So it wasn't like, a big thing. But when we went to Applebee's, I left my car in the parking lot of the Mexican restaurant. And he was like, yeah, just hop in with me and I'll take us to the Applebee's across the street. We could have walked. You know what I'm saying? We could have just crossed the street, but it was across the street. We went to the Applebee's, we had drinks. And then after we finished, came back to the parking lot because he was dropping me off at my car. And so this whole time we had just been talk, just gabbing, just being like, oh my gosh, like I remember At one point, I told him, I'm so glad you're normal. You know, like they always say such weird things about people online and, you know, meeting people online is scary, da 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 da. I was like, you seem like a regular, you know, normal guy. He's like, yeah. And so I still remember this very vividly. The way that we were positioned, we were facing the Chick-fil-A. Okay. We were facing the Chick-fil-A. Let me look this up to see, make sure that I'm talking about the right corner. Hold on. Walmart, Chick-fil-A. That's okay. Oh, there go to Applebee's. It's a Verizon. Oh, maybe that Verizon wasn't there yet. But here I was at Mexican restaurant parking lot. We were looking at the Chick-fil-A, like across the street, right? Facing the Chick-fil-A. And a lady was, you know, we were just talking about any and everything. A lady was walking her dog. And when I saw her walking her dog, I was like, oh my gosh, like I love dogs. Do you like dogs? And when I looked over, his whole pee-pee was out. His whole penis was out and he was stroking it. I said, what the hell are you doing? And he literally said, and I put this in the script of my show, he said, oh, come on, girl, you know you want this.
What's happening?
Come on, girl, you know you want this.
I'm going to clip my microphone right here so I could get animated with my hands because y'all need to see exactly what I did, okay? So for some reason, that day or that weekend, it was chilly in Atlanta, right? So for some reason, I had a scarf, a hat, I had a purse, I think I had gloves. I don't know. I just had a lot of extra stuff that I normally don't have on me. And so when I saw this man's penis glistening in the moonlight, because it had a little like moisture on the tip, I started grabbing all of my shit. I was like, oh, hell no. And I'm, got my hat, got my stuff. I'm wrapping stuff around. I run out the car. I'm running like I'm on Law and Order SVU, right? I'm track. I'm Flojo out of there. You know what I'm saying? Keep in mind, my car, we was parked right next to my car. So it was literally like me running for 0.2 seconds. And then I got in my car and locked the door. Boom. Got out of there. Skirt, turn left, hit my apartment. I was like, oh my God. That was so crazy. Now, why would he do that? Why would he do that? And then this is an unreleased part of the story that my friends know this again, but I don't think I have told this part publicly because it is so gross. But while because, you know, when I said, what the hell are you doing? And he said, oh, come on, girl, you know you want this. At first, before I started grabbing all my stuff, I was like, what? Like, I literally was like, huh? And he grabbed my hand. This is what made me activate and go into, I got to get out of here mode. He grabbed my hand and tried to put it on his Johnson. And when I snatched my hand back, he said, you trying to, I can't even say it. You trying to make me skeet. I'm going to say skeet. He was like, and he said it, keep in mind, the whole time his voice is very much like, almost like, yeah, come on, girl, you know you want this. While he's doing it, keep in mind, he's doing this the whole time. You know you want this. Then he like grabs my hand, tries to put it on there. I snatch it back. And he was like, that's gonna make me skeet. I said, whoa, I'm grabbing my stuff. That's what made me grab my stuff, because he tried to like actually put my hand on it. And here's the thing. This has had to have worked for him before, because there's no way that this was the first time that he ever did this. And so by the time I was getting back to my apartment, he was already texting me like, I'm sorry if I made you feel uncomfortable. I thought we was on that same vibe. I'm like, how did you think we was on that same vibe? I wasn't responding. And then he sent me a text that said, you left your scarf in my car. Now, I know some of y'all are probably gonna be like, girl, F that scarf. He could have that scarf, but it was my literal favorite scarf. I think somebody from Chicago gave it to me at some point, and it was like sort of my connection to Chicago. Y'all know I'm sensitive about my stuff. You know what I'm saying? I attach emotions to things. And so I said, I'll meet you at the Chick-fil-A. I think it was the next day, the next evening. I don't think it was that night. I think it was like the next day. I was like, I'll meet you at the Chick-fil-A parking lot. I wanted to meet him in public. I wanted to be on somebody's camera. You know what I'm saying? And so I met him at the Chick-fil-A, and I pulled up next to his car, and he came to my car with the scarf, and I rolled my window down like this much, right? And he was like, he's like, I'm trying to give you the scarf. I was like, just feed it through. It could fit. Just put a little corner in there. I'll grab it. And so he fed through a little corner of the scarf, and here go me. Give me my stuff. Give me my stuff. Zoop, rolled the window back up. Skirt, drove off. He like, you don't even want to. The last thing I remember him saying was, we can't talk about this or something like that. While I was driving off, he was still standing there. I never saw him again, obviously. Never talked to him again, obviously. And I did wash my scarf. I'm trying to think of all the things that people have asked me when I tell this story. The thing that I embellished and everything, like to give it some TV flavor, is that I had the actor bark like a dog. He didn't do that. I had him like give me a gift. He didn't do that either. So it was literally just what I said. We went to a Mexican place, Applebee's, and was sitting in the car talking. We weren't even talking about SEX. We were just talking about regular stuff. And here he go, want to get active. So that is the glistening in the moonlight story. It is probably number one on my top like worst dates, because any date that you have to run away from, yeah, that was a bad one. So I'm going to stay in Atlanta for a couple of these. And the next one, this is a really quick one. Okay. I met this guy online again, because y'all know I don't leave my house. I've always been like that. Met this guy. He lives in Stockbridge as well. And listen, after being in a relationship for 7 years, you know what I'm saying? Like at this point, I was 26 and all of my friends had done their like early 20s. We about to go out and party and have fun and now they were settling down, and I was in my let's go out, let's party, let's meet people. So it was really like my friends weren't trying to do that anymore, because they were like meeting their husbands and having kids and, you know, stuff like that. And so I was really just trying to meet people, date, whatever. The first thing that could have got me murdered is he invited me. They were having a barbecue at his house, and he was like, hey, you should come, you should stop through for the barbecue, whatever. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll stop through. It was like, I can't even tell you, but I remember it was in Stockbridge and it was pretty close. I'm like, you know, it wasn't super far away or anything. So I drove to his house. It was a whole bunch of cars there. But then when he opened the door and let me in, it was nothing but it was nothing but dudes. No other girls, not a one. And I was like, this is interesting. And then the house looked like a trap house. Like it only had a couch and a table. It wasn't no furniture like other than that. And I just remember being like, men are so weird. Like, why would you live like this? And then I was sitting on the couch with the guy, all of these other dudes milling about, like they got cups in their hand, they outside, inside, outside. You know how a barbecue is. And so it was an actual barbecue. It just wasn't no girls there. I just thought that was weird. So anyway, I'm sitting here. This is my first time meeting this person. And I'm sitting on the couch, we're just talking, da-da-da. He was very handsome. I remember him being very cute, but hood, straight hood. And listen, I don't mind hood activities, but you gotta be like a hood graduate. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta be like, the hood gotta be about you a little bit already. You can't just still be in it like that. So I noticed that he had cause I was on this side of him. And so I noticed that on the side of his neck, he had like a huge scar. And I was like, what happened to your neck right here? I was like, this looks very serious. I was like, did you have surgery or something? And as nonchalantly as he could possibly say it, he was like, oh, nah, somebody tried to decapitate me. And then he turned around so I could see his full neck. And when I say he had a scar from like ear to ear, the scar was a fully formed slit across his throat. I said, what? He's like, yeah. Then he started telling me all of his hood war wounds. Yeah, man, somebody tried to decapitate me right here. He lifted up his shirt. I got like 2 bullet holes right here. Like, God, it got me in my side. And then I tried to, He's telling the story like, I'm gonna be like, thank you for your service. Like, no. At that moment is when oh, bitch, you about to get murdered, alarm bells went off. Because I was the only girl in this whole house. So I think at that point, I was dog sitting my friend's dog. She had went home to Phoenix or something like that. And she had a big ass Doberman named Baby. And I was dog sitting Baby. And so I used Baby as my excuse. I was like, oh, I have to get back, to my apartment. I'm dog sitting a dog. She's never been at home by herself before, at my house by herself before. So I don't know how she's going to do it. So I only wanted to stop by, da-da-da. And so he was like, I'm going to see you again. I was like, yeah, sure, probably, because I'm trying to survive this encounter. That was it. I left the house. I went back home and I was like, what the hell? What was that? I just wasn't there anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just wasn't there anymore. The hood attraction, it had already gone. Everybody go through that hood phase, you know what I'm saying? And it had already gotten out of my system by that point. So, I could stay in Georgia for one more. Okay, I could stay in Georgia. So boom, I was actively dating. This isn't a first date story. I was actively dating this one guy. He was younger than me. I think he was 23 or something, like a couple years, But to me, I had never dated somebody younger. And so it felt weird to me, but he was very nice. He was tall. He was cute. He was kind of chunky. I like a little thick, like a little short hair, thick, red bone. Open up that fucking filet mignon there. We have been out. We were dating maybe 6 weeks or something like that. We had been out every week. We saw each other pretty much 2 times a week or something like that. So we were actively dating. He wasn't my man, but we were actively dating. So boom, it comes time for us to do the do. Now, keep in mind, this is the first person that I did the do with after a 7-year relationship. So I was like, oh, wait, no, it's not. Ooh, I should tell y'all that story. I'm going to save that for the members only. Ooh, that's a good story. Let me write that down. That's a members only story, baby. You got to pay for that. So this is one of the first dudes that I had, been with after a 7-year relationship. And so, we at my place and we kissing, it's getting hot and heavy, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And so we start doing the thing And you know how, everybody got their own, like, different stuff that they do or whatever. And so it seemed like he was really into missionary. Like he didn't want to like really change around or do nothing else. But here is the thing that I'm telling y'all the story about. When he would, oh God, when he was hitting the missionary, his mouth would be open the whole time. And it was open so wide that it was like over my mouth and nose, right? And so he would be like breathing on me. It was like this, y'all. And so I would try to turn my head, and then he would force my face back into the non-breathing zone. At one point, it was getting serious because now I'm just inhaling your CO2. So you trying to kill me. My friends always told me, because I was very quick to say no. I'm still very quick to be like, don't like you, moving on. And so my friends was always like, Tracy, you have to, because they probably be nervous on the first time. So you have to at least do it twice because it'll get better. The dude that I was with for 7 years, same vibe with him. I had learned that lesson earlier, like, okay, maybe the second time is the charm. They loosen up after that or whatever. The second time, same thing. His mouth wide open. I don't know if he was like getting off on like the fact that I couldn't breathe. Maybe this was his like version of choking before choking really became like everybody doing it. You know what I'm saying? Because every time I would try to turn my head or like try to get actual oxygen, he wouldn't let me. The second time, I had to push him up and say, I can't breathe. And he was like, I'm sorry. Oh, gosh. I call him the open mouth missionary. That's his nickname. So that's the story of him. He was very nice. After the second time we did it though, I didn't like him anymore. And I think he could feel it. And then we just sort of like fizzled out or whatever. But he was very nice and he was super cute. But that open mouth, you're not finna take me out like that. The coroner not finna come in here and find me like this. Okay, I just refuse. That's the story of him. Okay, let me look at my list. I think I think this is members only. I think that's too good. That's too good of a story. I think all three of these are members only. Okay, so last but not least, in Chicago, I met this guy at the Promontory. And if you don't know, the Promontory is like a restaurant and it's like a club on top of the restaurant, like a rooftop sort of situation. And they usually have DJs and like little day parties and stuff like that. I met this dude who was security at the party. Again, giving very much big teddy bear, got muscles on them, like chunky, like giving very much that. I think he was tall too. Like I think he was very tall and like, a big dude. And so I was at the bar and he actually came up to me like, I can't remember what he said, but we started talking or whatever. And of course, I'm like, okay, security, and then I walked away from him, but then the whole rest of the party, we kept like catching eyes. You know how you notice somebody looking at you, catch eyes. And so at the end of the night, I think I went up to him. I was like, so you gonna ask me for my number or no? Got the number, talked on the phone, and we went to the movies. We went to the movies once. I think I remember that. But on the way into the movie theater, he said something that I have never forgotten. Okay, he said, yeah, I almost didn't, get your number or whatever because you had on like a purpley pink nail polish color, but if it was red, I wouldn't have wanted your number. I said, excuse me, what? What do you mean? He's like, yeah, I don't like red nail polish. So you mean to tell me you don't talk to people who have a removable substance on their nails? Like, it's red today. It doesn't have to be red tomorrow. So what does that have to do with the person that you're talking to? And let me tell y'all something. I have never in my life gone to the store and picked up 12 red nail polishes so fast. Because now that you tell me that you don't like red nail polish, I feel like you telling me that I cannot wear red nail polish. See, here's the thing, guys. Dudes be trying to manipulate you into becoming who they want. And I never fall for it. Like, I always give the opposite. Oh, I don't like red nail polish. Now, every time you see me, I got red on my fingers and my toes. Now, what are you going to do about it? Because, ew, that's weird. And I stopped talking to him. Like, you know, I let it fizzle out because that gave me the ick. And I remember I was at my cousin's house one day. I was actually leaving my cousin's house. He called me out the blue. I remember looking at the phone like, what you calling me for? Boom. What's up, Tracy? Like, we haven't talked in a long time. Like, I was like, yeah, I know. It's crazy. He's like, yeah, like, what's been going on with you? What's good? Like, I really enjoyed our times together. Like, when we, you know, got together, whatever. And I think I remember him asking me, like, why did we stop talking? And I said, you don't like red nail polish. And he said, oh, you remember that? That's crazy. I said, what do you mean? Do I remember it? It's the only thing I remember about you. It's literally what your name is in my phone. I didn't tell him that part, but you know what I'm saying? And so he was like, I mean, you know, man, like, that's just like a preference thing. Like, and we had this whole conversation, because at that point, I wasn't trying to holler at him, and I think he knew that. And so we had this whole conversation about why. I really wanted to know why. I was like, was there a teacher that was mean to you back in the day that wore red nail polish? Like, does your mean grandma wear red nail? What is it? He was like, I just never liked it. I think it gives, like, he said he thinks red nail polish is for whores. He literally said the word whores. And I was like, okay, so that means you stumbled upon a corn video when you were like 7 years old, and both of the women in that scene had on red nail polish. That's the vibe that I'm getting. He didn't say that, but I just crafted a story in my mind because that's what I do, okay? Because it still didn't make sense to me. Like, it's a removable, you could take it off. You know what I'm saying? If you would have had red nail polish on that day, I would have never asked for your number. Now that's all you will ever see me in. Period, point blank. What are you talking about, sir? Ew. That's the story of the red nail polish guy. The fact that I thought of more stories while I was telling y'all these stories lets y'all know that it's been a time. It has been a time for me, okay? Y'all, that's probably why I don't be dating no more. I'm just tired. It's hard. It's a lot. It's such a lot. So looks like I'm, finishing up here with the painting, and I'm finishing up here with the story. Y'all let me know if you like this type of video. Actually, this video is super easy for me to do and edit, so I will do more of these if you like them. But that's it for this episode, y'all. I have not, at this point in recording this video, I still have not finished the painting. I still have to paint the doors and finish painting the baseboards. So I still have painting to do. It's never ending. Like I said, I'm in painting purgatory. Actually, after I finish this, I'm gonna go downstairs and start painting again. So that's it for this episode. Thank y'all for watching or listening. I know some of y'all probably just listened to this while you was working or whatever, like a podcast. That's cool too. Like this video and leave a comment below telling me how you would have handled the date stories that I told you about today. Like, how would you have handled the open mouth dude? Like, what was I supposed to do right there? You know what I'm saying? Like, let me know. Did I handle that right or nah? Like, was he trying to kill me? I think he was, for real. Like, I think he'd like to see the struggle of the girl not being able to breathe. You know what I'm saying? Because why would you keep moving my face back? Talking about look at me. No, I can't breathe. Let me know how y'all would have handled that. And I just came up with I have some really good stories that I'm going to save for whenever I open up my members only section. And those stories are really funny, hilarious, and I enjoy telling them. So that's it for this episode. As always, if you have depression, you are not alone. If you are on the dating struggle bus, you are not alone. I'm not on there with you this time because I done hopped off the bus, okay? I don't even want to ride no more. I don't want to ride no more. Y'all have to stay tuned for the next episode. I think we're going to get into crown molding at that point. I don't know. I have no idea what's coming up next, but y'all stay tuned. But in order to stay tuned, you have to what? Stay here. That is correct, Amongo. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all next time. Bye. Okay, y'all. After 87 hours, I think I have finished all the trim. This is the big trim. This is some of the small trim. That's like the longer pieces of small trim. And then over here, we got some long pieces and some short pieces of the big trim. But y'all see that finish? The finish, it looks like factory finish almost. That's why I like that paint. Let me see if y'all can see it good if I do it like this. See that? It's giving, I didn't paint that, I sprayed it, or like I bought it like this. Just give me the light, yeah. Okay, look at that. Isn't that, I mean, I painted that. Like, it looks so good to me. I don't care what y'all think. I was just sitting here looking at the first couple of comments that came out on the post where I was getting y'all to put your vote in about what you wanted to listen to today. And Nink Bink 3849 said, I can't stop thinking about the date with the man with that hand. The OGs know, laughing my butt off. We're going to have to say that for next time, Nink Bink. Okay? I gotta leave a cliffhanger for y'all because I forgot all about that story. I honestly forgot. Wow. When you said that man with that hand, it all came flooding back. We'll tell that on a future episode, on a future time-lapse story time. If you are an OG Tracy maniac, that's what my people would call back in the day. Let me know what story is your favorite. Don't give away the story, but just say like a clue, like how she did, the man with that hand. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't give away the story though, because, gotta leave some excitement for the new people. You know what I'm saying? So I guess y'all would for real have to stay tuned this time if you want to know what the story is with the man with the hand. Period. Bye.